Hollywood romance usually starts on a red carpet. These stories didn't. They began with an Olympic meeting, a nightclub, or a movie set. Some survived fame. Some survived scandal. Some didn't survive at all. But here's the question, which of these couples do you think had the wildest story? Keep watching, you may change your answer. Number 1. Brenda Song and Macaulay Culkin. Before, Brenda Song and Macaulay Culkin became one of Hollywood's most unexpected couples, their first meeting was almost a disaster. In 2014, at Seth Green's house, Culkin joked about Song's canceled sitcom. She was not amused. 3 years later, fate put them together again on Changeland in Thailand, and this time the chemistry was impossible to ignore. Their connection carried a strange emotional symmetry. Brenda had grown up as Disney's London Tipton, while Macaulay had lived through the enormous childhood fame of Home Alone and years away from Hollywood. Both knew what it meant to grow up under public attention. Instead of chasing headlines, they quietly began dating in 2017 and fiercely protected what they were building. Then their story became bigger than romance. In April 2021, they welcomed their first son, Dakota, named after Macaulay's late sister, who died in 2008. Their second son, Carson, arrived in December 2022. The couple became engaged in 2022 and in August 2025. Culkin proposed again, turning an old promise into another intimate family memory. The most emotional moment came in December 2023, when Culkin received his Hollywood Walk of Fame star. With Brenda and their sons watching, he fought back tears as he credited her with giving his life purpose and a family. Kevin McAllister and London Tipton were once childhood icons. Somehow their real love story became quieter, stranger, and more romantic than Hollywood could have scripted. Number 2. Kristi Yamaguchi and Brett Hedican. One Olympic winter gave Kristi Yamaguchi a gold medal and quietly introduced her to the man she would eventually marry. At the 1992 Games in France, Kristi became an American skating icon, while Brett Hedican competed for Team USA in hockey. Their paths crossed on the world's biggest stage, but the real love story would take years to unfold. By July 2000, the two athletes were husband and wife. Their life soon became bigger than trophies. Daughters, Kiara and Emma, arrived. Kristi stepped deeper into motherhood and philanthropy, and Brett kept battling through the punishing world of the NHL. In 2006, he finally lifted the Stanley Cup with the Carolina Hurricanes, giving their family another unforgettable championship moment. For more than 2 decades, they looked like one of sport's rare success stories. 2 elite athletes, 2 daughters, Olympic history, a Stanley Cup, and a marriage that seemed built to last. Then, far from the cameras, something changed. Kristi and Brett separated in 2023. There was no explosive public feud. In 2025, their divorce became final after 23 years of marriage. When Kristi finally spoke about the split in 2026, her words carried more sadness than anger. She said they had created an amazing marriage and a loving family, but reached a point where they believed they might be happier apart. She expressed no regret for the life they shared. Sometimes the most emotional ending is not betrayal or scandal. It is 2 people honoring what they had, then finding the courage to let it go. Number 3. Chris Noth and Tara Wilson. Millions knew Chris Noth as Mr. Big, the man who made complicated romance look irresistible on Sex and the City. But his real love story began far from Carrie Bradshaw's Manhattan fantasy. In the early 2000s, Noth met Tara Wilson while she was working at the Cutting Room, the New York venue he co-owned. What started quietly soon became a relationship neither fame nor public attention could keep hidden. Their first son, Orion, arrived in 2008. 4 years later, Chris and Tara married in an intimate ceremony in Maui, and in 2020, they welcomed their second son, Keats. Yet their interracial marriage also exposed an uglier side of fame. Noth revealed that the couple had received racist hate mail, turning a private relationship into something they sometimes had to defend simply because they chose each other. Then came December 2021. Multiple women accused Noth of sexual assault. He denied the allegations and maintained that the encounters were consensual. The fallout was immediate. He was removed from The Equalizer, and a planned appearance in And Just Like That was cut. Suddenly, the actor famous for playing television's ultimate romantic obsession was at the center of a very real public scandal. The story became even more personal in 2023 when Noth admitted that he had been unfaithful to Tara while continuing to deny the assault allegations. For a marriage that had already faced prejudice, parenthood, and decades under celebrity scrutiny, this was a different kind of test. Their story stopped looking like a Hollywood romance and became something far more complicated: love damage, family, and the painful distance between the man audiences imagined and the life unfolding behind closed doors. Number 4. Jamie Chung and Brian Greenberg. Jamie Chung had spent years fighting for a place in Hollywood when love unexpectedly entered the picture. After breaking out on MTV and building an acting career, she began dating One Tree Hill star Brian Greenberg in 2012. He proposed in 2013, but behind the red carpets was a relationship built around two people who understood exactly how quickly Hollywood could change a life. Halloween 2016 became their real beginning as a family. Jamie and Brian married in Santa Barbara, surrounded by friends and relatives. Yet one of their hardest decisions was still ahead. They wanted children, but Jamie later admitted she feared pregnancy could force her to step away from a career she had spent years building. Even discussing surrogacy brought anxiety because she worried about judgment. Parenthood finally arrived in October 2021, when the couple secretly welcomed twin boys through a surrogate. The announcement stunned fans because they had kept the entire journey private. Suddenly, years of uncertainty became two babies at once, and the actors who once organized their lives around auditions and filming schedules were learning how to survive sleepless nights together. Then, January 2025 brought a different kind of heartbreak. The Los Angeles wildfires destroyed the house they had hoped would be their forever home, although Jamie, Brian, and their sons were safe. After nearly a decade of marriage, they had already faced career pressure, fertility struggles, parenthood, and now the loss of a home. Brian later said, "One secret to lasting love is staying curious about the person beside you." Their romance survived because neither expected the other to remain the same. Number 5. Ming-Na Wen and Eric Michael Z. 30 years later, the wedding dress still fit, and so did the promise. In 2025, Ming-Na Wen and Eric Michael Z returned to Maui and recreated their 1995 wedding photo in the same clothes at the same location. But the strangest part of their love story is that neither of them expected it to happen in the first place. Their first encounter came through an almost accidental favor. When Ming-Na needed a ride to a special screening of the Joy Luck Club, her acting teacher sent Eric to pick her up. She later admitted Asian men were not her type at the time, while Eric apparently felt the same way about Asian women. Yet one unexpected ride changed both of their lives. They eloped in Maui on June 16, 1995. While Ming-Na broke barriers through ER, became the voice of Mulan, entered Marvel as Melinda May, and later joined the Star Wars universe as Fennec Shand. Their family kept growing away from the spotlight. Daughter Michaela arrived in 2000, followed by son Cooper in 2005. Fame kept getting bigger, but their marriage quietly survived the pressure around it. Then came the image that said more than any Hollywood speech could. On their 30th anniversary, Eric stood behind Ming-Na beneath the same Maui trees, wearing the same suit as he had 3 decades earlier. She wore her original wedding dress. 30 years, 2 children, countless premieres, and an extraordinary career separated those 2 photographs. Yet the pose barely changed. Sometimes the most dramatic Hollywood love story is the one that simply refuses to end. Number 6. Dev Patel and Tilda Cobham Hervey. Dev Patel arrived in Adelaide in 2016 to film Hotel Mumbai. Tilda Cobham Hervey joined the cast after another actress dropped out, and an unexpected connection formed off camera. She showed him her hometown friendship turned romantic, and within months, the 2 were being spotted together in Los Angeles. Their timing could not have been more intense. In 2017, Dev was riding the success of Lion and heading into Oscar night as a nominee. Soon after, cameras caught Tilda walking beside him and his mother. Yet instead of turning their romance into publicity, they did the opposite. For years, they rarely posed together and kept most of their relationship away from the spotlight. That privacy made April 2024 feel completely different. At the Hollywood premiere of Monkey Man Dev's brutal, deeply personal directorial debut, Tilda finally walked the red carpet beside him as his partner. They held hands, laughed, and looked at each other with the ease of a couple who had already survived 7 years without needing Hollywood to validate them. Their story has also become a creative partnership. They co-directed the animated short Roborovsky appeared together at the 2025 BAFTAs, and in 2026, Dev joined Tilda's feature directorial debut as a producer. What began on one movie set did not stay there. Nearly a decade later, they are still helping build the stories the other wants to tell. Number 7. Chloe Bennet and Austin Nichols. Austin Nichols entered Chloe Bennet's Marvel universe, playing a man from her character's past. Off-screen, he was about to become part of her real life. The 2 were linked in 2013 after working on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where Nichols guest starred as Miles Lidenskai's former boyfriend. At first, Bennett publicly brushed off the dating rumors. Soon, hiding their chemistry became much harder. Cameras eventually caught what interviews had avoided. Their relationship moved into the open with Chloe and Austin, appearing together at premieres, Hollywood parties, and major events. As Chloe transformed from Skye into Marvel superhero Daisy Johnson, Austin moved from One Tree Hill into The Walking Dead. For a few years, they looked like a couple growing inside 2 of television's biggest fandoms. Fame, however, was moving fast around them. Chloe was becoming a prominent Asian American face in superhero television while speaking openly about the barriers she had faced in Hollywood. Their romance lasted through some of the most important years of her rise, and their final public appearance together came in Washington, D.C. in April 2017. Then, the ending arrived, without a cheating scandal or explosive breakup. By summer 2017, after nearly 4 years together, Chloe and Austin had separated. A source close to them said they still had love and respect for each other, but had simply drifted apart. That may be what makes their story sting. Nothing dramatic had to destroy it. 2 people can share years, careers, and unforgettable moments, then discover that love alone cannot always keep them moving in the same direction. Number 8. Gemma Chan and Dominic Cooper. For years, Gemma Chan and Dominic Cooper managed something Hollywood rarely allows, being famous without turning their romance into a show. They had worked together on Stratton, but romance rumors did not erupt until 2018 when they were spotted traveling in Spain. By December, they quietly stepped out together at a British Fashion Awards after-party. There was no dramatic announcement, no staged reveal. Gemma was rising globally through Crazy Rich Asians and Marvel, while Dominic already carried hits like Mamma Mia and Preacher. Instead of feeding the spotlight, they protected what belonged to them. Gemma later explained that experience had taught her exactly what parts of life she wanted to keep private. Their bond became more meaningful during a darker chapter. As anti-Asian hate intensified during the pandemic, Gemma became increasingly vocal about racism and violence. She later said, "Dominic listened, understood, and supported her when the emotional weight became difficult to carry." Together, they also volunteered delivering food to frontline NHS workers. Years later, the mystery still surrounds them. They appear together only occasionally, from Wimbledon to quiet London outings, while refusing to make their relationship a Hollywood product. As of 2026, they are still together. In an industry that can turn intimacy into content overnight, Gemma and Dominic may have found their advantage by keeping the most important part off camera. Number 9. Kevin James and Steffiana de la Cruz. The funniest twist in Kevin James's life never came from a script. In 2001, while the King of Queens was making him a television star, he was set up on a blind date with Filipino-American model and actress Steffiana de la Cruz. The date worked. By October 2003, they were engaged. On June 19, 2004, Kevin stood nervously inside St. Edward Catholic Church in California and married the woman who had changed his private world. Soon, Hollywood success exploded with Hitch, Paul Blart Mall Cop, and Grown Ups. Steffiana occasionally stepped into his movies too, turning their real partnership into playful on-screen cameos. Then fame had to make room for something louder than applause. Sienna Marie arrived in 2005, followed by Shay Cannon and Sistine. 4 children transformed Kevin from sitcom husband into real-life father, and family life began slipping into his comedy. He even praised Steffiana's gift for calming their children when bedtime became chaos. More than 2 decades after that blind date, the relationship is still standing. In January 2026, Kevin and Steffiana made a rare family appearance with 3 of their children at the New York premiere of Solo Mio. Hollywood gave Kevin countless fictional love stories to joke about. The one that lasted began with 2 strangers agreeing to one date. Number 10. Harry Shum Jr. and Shelby Rabara. Harry Shum Jr.'s biggest break may have come from the woman beside him, not an agent. He and dancer Shelby Rabara began dating in 2007, and their first date was a screening of Dreamgirls. Both ended up crying, then spent the night opening up to each other. Years later, Shelby would make another life-changing suggestion audition for Glee. Harry listened, landed Mike Chang, and his career took off. Dance was already their shared language, but Hollywood raised the stakes. Harry moved from Glee to Shadowhunters, Crazy Rich Asians, and eventually Grey's Anatomy. Shelby built her own career as a dancer actress and the voice of Peridot in Steven Universe. After years together, they became engaged in 2014 and married in Costa Rica in November 2015. A new rhythm entered their lives in March 2019 with the birth of their daughter, Sia. Parenthood eventually inspired the couple to turn something deeply personal into art. Their children's book, Marty Dares to Dance, grew from Sia's love of movement and from the creative world both parents had spent their lives building. Nearly 2 decades after they first started dating, Harry still refuses to describe lasting love as effortless. In 2026, he said marriage requires learning how to love each other differently, through every stage, through conversation, silence, conflict, and action. Their romance never needed a scandal to make it compelling. The woman who encouraged Harry toward one of his defining roles became the partner still dancing beside him years later. Number 11. Josh Holloway and Jessica Kumala. She did not even know his name. In 1999, Josh Holloway was at Los Angeles' Sunset Room when Jessica Kumala walked up, demanded his phone number, then disappeared with her martini. She eventually saved him in her phone as Sunset 4 because he was the 4th number she collected that night. Years before Josh became Sawyer on Lost, Jessica had already made the first move. Then Hollywood changed everything around them. Lost premiered in September 2004 and turned Josh into one of television's biggest heartthrobs almost overnight. Just 2 weeks later, on October 1st, he married Jessica. Their daughter Java arrived in Hawaii in 2009, while Josh was filming the series followed by son Hunter in 2014. Fatherhood. Josh later admitted made him want to become a better man and gave his success a completely different purpose. What kept them together was surprisingly unglamorous. Josh has said that after so many years, romance cannot carry a marriage every single day. Sometimes husband and wife simply need to be best friends. More than 2 decades after their wedding, Jessica still avoids social media and rarely walks red carpets, while Josh remains the public face of the family. Hollywood made him famous, but the woman who once labeled him Sunset 4 became the person who stayed. Number 12. Daniel Dae Kim and Mia Kim. Long before millions knew Daniel Dae Kim from Lost, Mia Kim had already chosen the man behind the future star. They married on June 12th, more than a decade before Daniel's breakthrough as Jin Soo Kwon. Those early years were not built around premieres or fame. They were built while Daniel was still chasing roles, traveling for work, and trying to survive an industry where opportunities for Asian American actors were painfully limited. Success eventually came fast. Lost became a global phenomenon, followed by Hawaii 5-0, and a career that kept Daniel away from home for long stretches. Meanwhile, Mia became the steady center of their family as they raised sons Xander and Jackson. Daniel has credited her stability with helping the family stay grounded, and today Xander even works alongside his father at Daniel's production company 3AD. More than 30 years after the wedding, Daniel was asked what had kept their marriage alive. His answer was surprisingly simple. He has a very patient wife. In 2025, Mia was still beside him at major events, including the Time 100 Gala, after decades of auditions, fame, fatherhood, and change. Hollywood eventually discovered Daniel Dae Kim. Mia knew him before any of it, and she stayed long enough to watch the dream become real. Number 13. Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas. Nick Jonas did not wait for an introduction. In September 2016, he slipped into Priyanka Chopra's Twitter DMs after hearing about her through mutual friends. Months later, when they finally met at a 2017 Oscars party, Nick dropped to one knee in a crowded room. She was already an Indian superstar. I was 10 years younger. On paper, almost nothing about them looked predictable. By May 2018, flirting had become a real relationship, and Nick moved fast. He proposed that July, reportedly after shutting down a Tiffany store to choose the ring. 5 months later, India became the stage for one of celebrity culture's most spectacular weddings. At Umayyad Bhawan Palace, they honored both worlds with a Christian ceremony and a traditional Hindu wedding. Their hardest chapter arrived far from any red carpet. Daughter Malti Marie was born via surrogate in January 2022, dramatically premature, and spent more than 100 days in intensive care. Priyanka later admitted there were moments when she did not know whether her baby would survive. She and Nick stayed beside Malti until they could finally bring her home. Even after marriage and parenthood, rumors kept predicting their breakup. Priyanka confronted that noise directly in 2026, making it clear that outsiders could keep waiting for their marriage to collapse if they wanted. 8 years after their lavish wedding, she and Nick were still walking red carpets together and raising the daughter they once feared they might lose. Their romance began with a message. What followed became a collision of cultures, fame, fear, and a family neither of them takes for granted. Number 14. Olivia Munn and John Mulaney. Before America even knew where their romance was going, people were already judging it. In 2021, John Mulaney emerged from rehab, his marriage was ending, and news broke that he was dating Olivia Munn. Months later, John revealed Olivia was pregnant. The timing fueled relentless speculation, but the couple refused to let strangers write their story for them. In November 2021, their son Malcolm Hiep arrived, bringing calm to a relationship born under intense scrutiny. Then life delivered something far more frightening than tabloid drama. In 2023, Olivia was diagnosed with an aggressive form of breast cancer. She underwent a double mastectomy and several additional procedures, while John balanced work, fatherhood, hospital visits, and caring for her. Cancer changed the future they thought they had. Olivia later spoke about confronting the possibility of death, while John attended appointments and used humor to keep fear from taking over their home. In July 2024, they married quietly at a friend's house in New York, with their young son present. No giant celebrity wedding, just a family choosing each other after surviving a brutal year. 2 months later, daughter May June was born through a gestational surrogate. Her name honored Olivia's Asian heritage and family roots. By 2026, Olivia and John were still raising Malcolm and May together, speaking openly about how close illness brought them to losing everything. Their relationship began surrounded by noise. What ultimately defined it was much quieter survival, 2 children, and the decision to stay beside each other when life became terrifyingly real. Number 15. Michelle Yeoh and Jean Todt. She said yes less than 2 months after meeting him, then waited 692 days to become his wife. Michelle Yeoh met Jean Todt in Shanghai on June 4, 2004, when he was one of Formula One's most powerful figures. On July 26, he proposed. Michelle accepted, beginning an engagement that would last nearly 19 years. Their lives moved at full speed in completely different worlds. Michelle built an international acting career that eventually led to Everything Everywhere All at Once and an Academy Award. Jean led Ferrari and later became president of the FIA. Airports, movie sets, racing circuits, and constant travel filled their lives, yet the relationship endured without needing a wedding date to prove it. Finally, on July 27, 2023, they married in Geneva, surrounded by family and close friends. Months later, they celebrated again in Michelle's hometown of Ipoh, Malaysia. By 2026, they were still together, marking another anniversary after more than 2 decades as a couple. Jean proposed almost immediately, but their love story took 19 years to reach the altar. Sometimes the longest wait makes the final promise feel even more unforgettable.